There are a number of viruses within the galaxy that have caused death and destruction in their wake. A few examples of these were the Blue Shadow virus, the Von Spawn virus, but none were as deadly as the virus known as the Sickness. Today, we're going to go into full detail of this virus and what actually happened to it. So sit back, relax, and make sure to wash your hands for 20 seconds, avoid touching your face, and use tissues for coughs. Welcome to Star Wars Timelines. Just a quick message, please don't forget to like and subscribe this video. It really helps me continue to bring you videos like these. Also, feel free to comment any lore or theory videos that you would like to see next. It can be as wild and crazy as anything, such as the lore of Jar Jar Binks, or what happened to the Ewoks. Here's a quick spoiler, they got their own TV show. You should watch it. Now, the Sickness was better known as the Imperial Bioweapons Project I-71A, an infection viral agent created by Sith alchemy that attacked biological tissue and transformed its victims into undead, well, zombies basically. The disease was originally created by Darth Dreer sometime before 4645 BBY and was intended to grant immortality. Dreer's initial experiments resulted in failure, and the Sith Lord himself fell victim to his own creation. Over 1,000 years later, after the Great Galactic War, Darth Scrabus attempted to recreate Dreer's disease, in the hope that he would be able to succeed where his predecessor had failed. However, he also failed, and unleashed the virus on his students and staff in the Sith Academy. Before long, all of the Sith acolytes and the masters on the planet died and were turned into these zombies. A group of Jedi travelled to the planet later and discovered what had happened. A few managed to escape and made it back to the Jedi Order, where the Order declared the planet off limits and isolated the world. Some feared, however, that the Sickness would eventually find a way to spread. For 3,000 years, nothing with the virus really happened. However, during the reign of the Galactic Empire, Darth Vader learned the secret of the Sickness and ordered the virus to be recreated. However, he did not seek immortality like the others. Rather, he wanted to create the pathogen to be weaponized. This product was destined to be used as a method by which the Empire could use to end the rebellion. The plan was designated Imperial Bioweapons Project I-71A, but the final outcome would eventually be known as Project BLACKWING or the BLACKWING virus. The scientists worked on a Star Destroyer as it toured the Outer Rim territories, wild space, and the unknown regions, to remain hidden and keep the project secret. The effort was successful, and the scientists prepared to begin transporting the virus to their ordered destinations. The destroyer moved to the planet Megalum in the Inner Rim. They began moving airtight tanks that could contain the virus. However, one of the containers began leaking. The leaking tanks released the virus into the destroyer and quickly infected thousands of Imperials on board. The disease initially appeared to be containable, as the scientists aboard succeeded in quarantining the area of the ship that had already been exposed to the virus. Now, this worked for a time and even allowed the biologists time to collect sample tissues from those who had become infected and examine these specimens. However, the engineers experienced a critical malfunction and the ship stalled in space. During this time, the scientists successfully created an antivirus. The antivirus was supposed to be issued to all crewmen aboard the destroyer, but it soon became apparent that there were not enough of the serum to go around. Eventually, the plan to quarantine the infected fell apart, as the BLACKWING virus was able to break the containment barriers aboard the destroyer and began to spread to the rest of the crew. While hundreds of troopers became sick and began to die, those who were inoculated against the infection enacted contingency plans to try and starve off the disease's progression through the ship and prevent the victims from transforming into the undead. To that end, the survivors began to round up the bodies of the deceased and grind them into a garbage facility, leaving behind a massive hill of flesh, limbs, and entrails in the waste room. Even this attempt was only marginally successful. Some of these remains were still possessed by the Blackwing virus, while victims who were transformed before they could be chopped up began to eat the immune and the inoculated. Not great. As conditions worsened, a number of the surviving Imperial forces began to make plans to escape the doomed destroyer. 29 Imperial soldiers boarded the landing craft and departed the destroyer. However, the undead aboard the Vector had taken control of the entire Star Destroyer and learnt how to operate its tractor beam. After pulling the craft back into the capital ship's hangar, the Blackwing-controlled victims attempted to breach the ship's hull and access the survivors within, but found themselves unable to do so. The zombies thusly resigned themselves to stalking the now derelict destroyer, while the soldiers aboard the landing craft waited for rescue for the next 10 weeks. During that time, some of the commander's men were forced to resort to cannibalism for sustenance, which ultimately caused their numbers to dwindle from 30 to a mere 7. For the next 10 weeks, the ship drifted through the unknown regions, intercepting and capturing any vessel that crossed its path. It even managed to capture an Imperial prison barge while transporting inmates. Upon entering the destroyer, the Imperials on the barge knew nothing about what had happened. Soon after arrival, all members of the barge began to experience coughs and vomiting as they had been exposed to the virus on the ship. The disease began to spread uncontrollably throughout the prison barge, while stormtroopers and officers were sent to the medbay to seek treatment for nausea, seizures, and other symptoms. The other prisoners were left to ride out the disease on their own, and despite efforts to avoid contraction through the use of quarantine bubbles and biohazard gear, the sickness continued to spread, driving its victims through waves of pain or fits of insanity. Eventually, only a handful were able to escape the ship. A few zombie pilots attempted to follow them, but they quickly became dead again after separating themselves from the ship that provided the continuous exposure to the virus. Eventually, the virus even made it to Dathomir, which began the Dathomir quarantine. The infected zone included an undead rancor was quarantined, but the undead stayed persistent, attacking the villagers daily. The Howling Crag clan was a clan of the Dathomiri witches that lived on the planet. Following the Blackwing outbreak on Dathomir, a number of clan members became infected with the disease. In an attempt to contain the outbreak, the Galactic Empire killed most of the clan. However, 3 of the infected witches used spells to fight off the contagion. They became known as the Sisters of the Void. However, the sisters gradually began to lose their battle against the infection, and the forced ghost of their clan, Mother, sent a spacer to kill the trio. The Blackwing crystals found in the undead Rancor's cave were possibly an unknown byproduct of the Blackwing virus, after they were aptly named after it. Eventually, operations were undertaken by the Empire and the Rebel Alliance to combat the threat, and was contained. Rumours began cropping up soon after that surviving samples had been retrieved by criminal organisations, gangs, cartels, extremists and other factions for trade or possible weaponization. The Rebel Alliance continued operations against the virus when a second outbreak occurred, although the outbreak was again contained. Since then, there have been no more reports of the virus. However, there are confirmed quarantine areas that might still be active. For now though, this is all the information we have. Don't forget to wash your hands and avoid touching your face, otherwise you too might get the virus. For now though, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you. A quick reminder guys, if possible please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me and helps me continue to make content like this. If you also have any ideas for lore videos, or theories, or reviews, or any upcoming comics that you might like me to have a look at, please comment them in the comments down below. I'm always open to any suggestions. Again, they can literally be as wild as you want. Like, I'll literally do a lore video on what happened to Jar Jar Binks after Revenge of the Sith. He became a bit of a clown. I mean, he was a clown before, but now he's more of a clown. I'll save that for the video. Comment down below if you want me to do that or something.